Hey, and welcome back for another Hunting Mirages video log for February the 10th, 2020. I think this is my ninth vlog since I started vlogging again. And this week, the most exciting thing I did was that I wrote an automation script for UVI Falcon, which is the primary synthesizer that I use to do all of my work. Now, before I go into what that script does, I'm going to explain a little bit about what I'm trying to do with Falcon lately and why I needed to write this script, because one of the unusual problems that I have with my setup that I'm always trying to solve is being able to change sounds quickly and easily while I'm playing, so that, I don't have to go to the computer screen and use the mouse to actually change things, which seems like it should be something that's pretty easy to do, but it's really not, for reasons to do with, I think it's just one of those things that's not that common a use case with digital audio workstations these days, because, I do everything inside the computer. All of my software, all of my synthesizers are software, and they're all running inside a digital audio workstation program. So when I'm playing my synthesizer, even just when I'm playing my synth for fun, not recording or whatever, it's all in the computer. And so, one of the strange things that I've found with VST programs, VSTs are the software synthesizers that run on computers, is that most of them don't actually respond to program change messages, which are the messages that you can send from a MIDI keyboard, that are designed for selecting sounds. And many synthesizers, many software synths, they'll only be able to load one sound at a time, because, one of the great things about software synthesizers is that you can run as many instances of a software synth as you like. So you can load one and load up a sound, and then create another instance of the same synth and load another sound into that, and create another instance and load another sound into that. And then you can choose which channel you're sending your notes to, and that can choose what sound you're on. And I think most people who are using software synthesizers are doing it in the context of actually like composing music, rather than playing live or something like that. But so if you want the use case where you have a keyboard, like say a traditional synthesizer keyboard where you'd have the keyboard and there'd be buttons along above the back of the keyboard, and you can just press a button to choose a sound, press another button to choose another sound, and if you're playing live, I mean, that's a pretty normal thing you'd expect to be able to do. But if your live synthesizer is software synthesizers inside a computer, they don't really support that setup, which is frustrating, because if you're trying to actually play live, then you need to some other way to solve that problem. And another reason why it's important for me to solve this problem is because I like to also have all of my sounds at my fingertips for when I'm actually writing music as well, because one of the things that really takes you out of the flow when you're writing music is having to use the mouse and keyboard and dig through menus and choose sounds, and sort of playing your keyboard over here and then coming over here and finding another sound with your mouth, and then come back here and play, and then come and dig through menus again. It's not a nice experience. It's so much better to be able to just hit a key on the keyboard to choose from a list of your go-to sounds. And so I've been trying to set that up. And, I have, found some solutions to that. But another thing that I need to solve is that some sounds, they need to have an arpeggiator running in order to get the sound that you want. And this is common with, if you're doing bass, especially synthesized bass sounds, because, some genres like, say, psytrance, the basses are always, sequenced and arpeggiated. They're actually kind of impossible to play on a keyboard with your fingers, because it's this kind of kind of sound, and getting that, playing that consistently with like, one finger on a key it's nigh on impossible. It's not even something I'd like to get good at. So, it's easier just to be able to hold one key and have an arpeggiator play the notes for you. But typically, the arpeggiator is part of a sound. And so if I want to be able to choose from a number of different arpeggiations, different arpeggiator setups, and each one of those is embedded inside a patch, then I have to have a different synth setup for each one of those. And, and if I have like, say, 10 different arpeggiator patterns that I might want to choose from, and then I have, say, 16 different bass sounds that I might want to use, and I want to be able to use any one of those patterns with any one of those bass sounds, then that's 160 sound patches that I need to have set up in order to be able to choose any bass sound with any arpeggiation. In software engineering, we call that a combinatorial explosion of options, and it's not what you want. It's much easier if you can just choose a sound and then separately choose an arpeggiator pattern. And that's where I'd run into, a bit of a roadblock with my current setup, because, the arpeggiator that I use is built into Falcon, which is the synth that I like. And, I found a way that, I could have, like in Falcon, I can have a number of different sounds set up. And I've got I've mapped it to a knob so that I can turn a knob to choose the sound. But then I'd figured out a way to set global arpeggiators so that the arpeggiator affects any of those sounds. But I hadn't found a way to actually choose from multiple different arpeggiations. You can set them up, but then the only way you could turn them on and off is to actually once again use the mouse and go to the screen and find the the particular arpeggiators you're looking for and turn off these ones and turn on that one. And I have been wanting a solution to this problem for a while, and one of the possible solutions was to actually use a separate arpeggiator plugin that might sit in front of Falcon. But I had a good hard look for through a bunch of ones that might fit the bill, but none of them really worked. The strange thing, most of them were too simplistic compared to the Falcon arpeggiator, which is really good. But strangely enough, the only one that really fit the bill in every other way had this weird thing where it's actually an audio effect, and you have to put it on a separate audio channel and then do all this complex MIDI routing to get the MIDI in and out. And then it made everything else about my set just difficult and overly complicated just to accommodate this one arpeggiator. And so I didn't like that setup at all. So, I hadn't been doing that. And anyway, so just this last weekend, a couple of days ago, I decided, right, I'm going to see if I can actually use the Falcon scripting in order to see if I can actually control these arpeggiators, externally using MIDI. And, long story short, the answer was yes, which is awesome. Because I've wanted to do some Falcon scripting for a while, but it's one of those things. I mean, in a music project like this, there is always, dozens of different things that require, your attention and a lot of work, and you have to be pretty ruthless about where you choose to put your time in order to move the entire project forward. And I'd always liked the idea of digging into Falcon scripting, but I always knew that just the initial learning curve was going to be pretty steep. But I finally figured out I had to stop putting it off. I finally had a really solid use case. I'd tried every other avenue, so it's time to actually do the scripting. And even though it did take a good 3 or 4 hours of getting up the learning curve just to get that first script going. I could probably write it again now in about half an hour, but there was quite a bit of learning to do about just how the Falcon scripting documentation is laid out, and the paradigm that you are programming in when you're doing it. but I got it done, and it's awesome. I can now, hold down a sound, and twist a knob, and you get all the different arpeggiator patterns as you change that knob. Because in Falcon, I've got the automation script which lets me turn a knob to control which one of a bank of arpeggiators is the one that's currently switched on, and all the other ones are switched off. So I've got a knob there you can turn, and then I can map that to host automation and map it onto a knob in Ableton Live. And then having it in a device control in Ableton Live means that I can then control it from the external knobs on like my Launch Control XL or my synthesizer over here. And so that's really awesome. I'm really happy about that. Because it solves a problem that I've had for months and months, and that I'd tried many other ways to solve and could not. So at some point, I think I'm going to do like a demonstration video, because I'll probably get this script and package it up and put it online for other users of the Falcon synthesizer who might want to use that script or learn from what I wrote. And so I'll probably do like a demo video where I actually do like a screen share and show how to actually bring up the script in Falcon, and how to use it and how to map it to your things and explain how it works. And then I'll put the script on my website, and then people can watch the video if they want to understand what the script's about. Go to my website to get the script if they want it. And that'll be a great little something that I can share with the Falcon community, which I'm pretty happy about. And then the other great thing about having done this is that I now that I understand scripting, I've immediately pivoted to working on a much improved script for actually selecting sounds, because the way that I've been previously doing it actually isn't inside Falcon. I was using in Ableton Live, I was using chain selectors, and then having to use the external instrument plugin to choose MIDI, which MIDI channel the MIDI data is being sent to Falcon over. And it was really clunky, and if I wanted to add additional parts or remove parts, I had to like add and remove chains and then spread all the the selectors up the chain selector again, and it was really awful. And I'm already working on a script that enables me to just have a single automation control going straight into Falcon, which you turn the control and it selects the part. And so I'm excited about what's possible there as well. So anyway, that's my update for this week. Falcon, synth, coding, automation, solving problems. Very happy. All right. Thanks very much. If you really want to help me out, the best way to keep tabs on my project is to be on my mailing list, which is the only function on my website right now. So go to my website, huntingmirages.com, subscribe to my mailing list, and you'll be in the innermost circle. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.